Chenny and welcome back to my channel. So this is like my first day off since I got back from New York, and I'm really excited to be filming this video for you guys. I actually tried filming this video I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and when I filmed it the film quality was just really bad, so I decided that I wanted to remake this video. So today we're going to be doing a bag review, and the bag that I am going to be reviewing is this Lady Mini Dior. And a lot of you guys have seen my handbag collection video and have requested for me to do a review on this bag. So that is what I'm doing today. So this is my Mini Lady Dior, and it's in the mini size. There's also a nano size, which is a bit smaller than this, but this is the mini size. And then when you go up from here, you have the small, and then you have the medium size. So for this one, I don't have the regular edition where it's the lambskin or the patent skin. This is actually a satin fabric, and it's got kind of this like, I don't know, like crystals on it, but it's like a dark crystal almost, but it kind of shines this white crystal kind of reflection when you actually see it. But when you see it on the bag up close, the crystal colors are actually a little bit of like a gray color. So I actually bought this bag when I was in Paris last year. I think it was late September. Yeah, late September. I got this bag in Paris, and I think it was 2,200 euros or 2,400 euros. I'm kind of leaning towards 2,200 euros, and that's how much I paid for the bag, and then I got my taxes back. More about this bag was actually not on display when I had purchased it, and they were actually in the back, and she had the gray one in the back. I had to specifically ask for the bag. I asked her if you had a black one that had crystals on it that kind of shows like, you know, the canage pattern, but instead of having the stitching show, I wanted the stitching to be kind of like a crystal or a pearl kind of effect. And she brought out the gray one, but I didn't really like the gray one as much. I really wanted a black one with kind of white like crystals. But eventually, after like 1 hour and a half to 2 hour wait, I was literally waiting in the store for them to get a black one from another store. And when it came, I saw it and I'm like, wow, this is the piece that I want. So then I immediately purchased it. But it was kind of stupid that I had to wait for 1 hour and a half to 2 hours, because when I actually went upstairs to the second floor, so I was in Lafayette, and when I eventually went up to the second floor, actually, they actually had this bag like sitting on display. To start off the review, I'm first going to give you guys a little bit of information about this bag. So this bag is actually their classic and iconic Dior bags. It was originally gifted to Princess Diana, and she wore it a lot. So then the bag became the iconic bag of Dior. And all of the bags kind of have this canage pattern detail. So you know how Chanel has the quilting details? So with the Dior bags, they usually have this canage kind of detail. So it's almost kind of looks like an oval inside. It's supposed to resemble, I think, the chairs from Louis XVI or Louis XIV. It's kind of like an oval back chair, and the inside pattern is supposed to reflect that with this oval here. So most of the bag and the most standard bags usually come with lambskin or patent leather, and when you purchase it, this canage pattern where you actually see crystals here on mine are actually in stitching. And with the leather versions, you're actually gonna get the canage where the oval is, and it's gonna puff out a little bit. But whereas my bag, this is completely flat, and with the patent version, it's also completely flat. So there are basically a few different sizes. You can go for the nano, you can go for the mini, and you can go for the small and the medium. For me, I'm personally 160 centimeters. I'm about, you know, like a pretty petite person, I would say. So the mini or the small would work better for me. I have seen people with a medium, and I just don't like the bag in the medium size. It just doesn't work for me, considering how tall I am and the fact that I am a bit more petite. Another feature to note is that all of the bags will come with this Dior bag charm, and this bag charm will say Dior on it. So it's kind of like letters on there, and it's got D-I-O-R, and the O is always the biggest, and it's got like a piece of leather backing the O as well. So the bag charm is permanently there. You cannot take off the bag charm, so that is something to note. But I personally really like having this bag charm. I really think it gives the bag an extra detail, and it gives it like something a bit more different than just having a plain regular leather bag. Okay, all of the bags actually have two handles. So it comes with a top handle where you can actually hold the bag, and then it comes with a longer body strap. So for mine, this is a crossbody strap, and you can also wear it kind of just on the one shoulder as well. So you can literally wear this bag three ways: by the hand, crossbody, and then one shoulder. So what I usually like to do is I wear it on the one shoulder, or I would just hold it on the top handle. Sometimes when I want to just hold it on the top handle, I would actually take my strap off. One thing you want to note is that when you're actually putting your strap on, so this is like a stupid mistake that I made. After I got home or got back to my hotel and that I was putting the straps on, and I clipped the strap on the inside part of the handle instead of on the outside. So like when you're actually carrying the bag like this, when you have it on the inside, literally the handles will just flip out. So it's kind of like an awkward situation when the handles would flip out if you're clipping it on the inside. But then I realized, you know, you can clip it on the outside, and when you clip it on the outside, you have this perfect like straightness when you're like carrying the bag on the one shoulder, or when you're carrying a crossbody. So the bag will be like completely straight. I don't know if you guys can see this properly or if I'm explaining this properly, but I feel like it's something that's really hard to do on camera, but you do definitely want to clip your strap on the outside, and that's kind of something that I've noticed. So one thing to note that when you're buying this bag is that all of the hardware actually has the word CD engraved on it. So CD, basically Christian Dior. So on the handle, it has the CDs engraved in it, as well as along this kind of oval hardware. For my particular bag, I am actually going to measure the width and height right now. So width-wise, it's about 6.5 inches. Height is about another 5.5 inches. And the depth of the bag is about 2.5 inches. So those are the measurements of my bag. For the inside of the bag, instead of having like a zipper opening, I actually have a flat opening. So with the smaller versions, Nano and the Mini, you actually have a flat closure instead of the zipper closure. I find that this is so much easier because you can see everything inside of your bag, whereas if you have the zipper, you literally have to like put your hand in or like really just open up the bag where the zipper is, kind of like pull it open so you can see what's inside of the bag. So another thing to note is that there's actually another zipper compartment inside. For me particularly, because this bag is really small, I don't actually get to use the inside zipper compartment at all. It's pretty tiny. You can barely fit anything in it with the Nano size. I mean, sorry, with the Mini size, you can barely fit anything in it. And then another thing that you guys probably can't see is that there's actually a piece of leather in here that will say Christian Dior, and you know where it's made and stuff inside and right in front of the zipper compartment. So that's kind of it about the basic info on this bag. So now I'm going to talk about what I like and what I dislike about this bag. What I like about this bag is that, first of all, it is a special edition. I really don't like the standard Mini Lady Dior's because I just feel like everybody has the standard version, and I wanted something a bit more special, so I am really happy with this piece. Now, if you're looking to get a more special piece, I feel like you shouldn't really go for the really wild or like crazy pieces that are super seasonal. You're gonna look at it and you're gonna know which season it is from. You should always go for something a bit more classic that if you were to put it on the resale market, that you're going to be able to sell it. Because I feel like most of the people on the secondhand market or on the resale market, they're looking for something a bit more classic, and they don't want to pay that much money for something that's really seasonal and something that, you know, they're not going to even pay regular price for. What I also really like is that the size of this bag really works for me. I can use it during the day or I can use it during the evening. So I mentioned already that you can actually use the bag using 3 different methods: holding it or using the shoulder strap to create different looks. And in the evening, you know, when you're just holding it on the top handle, it's a really great evening bag, and it's something that's going to stand out as well. And for the day, you can just style the bag, you know, casually or a bit more dressier, just using the shoulder strap. What I also like about this bag versus the medium size is that it's a flat opening. I already talked about this. Honestly, this is going to make your life so much easier. Like having the flat openings, being able to see everything inside, is definitely a lifesaver. You also don't have the zipper kind of scratching your hand and your arm every time you reach in and come out. One last thing I really like about this bag is that if you look at it, the hardware is like really stiff, and it's kind of almost like just stuck there, so it doesn't fall off and stuff. And this like charm is actually stuck on there. You can't really move it. Like, it's very hard. So with that, my hardware really hasn't been scratching. So that is something I really like. Everything is kind of just fixed in place, and my hardware is not like scratching against each other or rubbing against each other. If you had watched my Chloe Faye review, you would have noticed that with the Chloe Faye bag, when the hardware keeps on rubbing against each other or scratching, it creates kind of like this black mark, as well as a lot of like scratches on your bag. And with this bag, it's so delicately made that, you know, it's not doing any of that. So I really like that about this bag. So now we're going to move on to the dislikes. So because this bag is a very structured bag, what I have noticed is that when I put this bag on the back of my chair and I'm like sitting backwards, leaning on the bag, it kind of like just sucks in a little bit, or like it gets pushed in a little bit. And because this bag is more structured, it is a harder structure, this pushing back kind of just stays on the bag permanently. Like, it doesn't come out ever again. Like, you cannot push this back into its originally flat shape. And I don't know if you guys can see it on camera, but it literally pushes in a little bit and it's permanently like that. So with my bag, a problem that I don't actually have is the de-puffing or deflating of the little puff balls that I was talking about if you get the leather option. So if you get the leather option, over time with wear and like, you know, if you keep on like sitting back on it, the puff balls, like the little balls on the canage oval, gets a little bit flat. So it kind of looks really weird when it gets flatter, and like it just feels like it's a little bit saggy and it becomes flat if you do get the leather option. Another thing I don't like about this bag is that it does not come with bag feet. So you know, like those little studs on the bottom of your bag, so you're supposed to have 4, and this bag does not come with it. So I don't know if the medium or small version comes with it. If you guys know, please leave a comment below. But the mini version really doesn't come with it, and I feel like it's just not protecting the bottom of my bag, and it does kind of attract a lot of dust and gets dirty whenever I leave it there. Last thing I don't like about this bag is that because it is a satin material, so if you guys are not getting the satin material, you're not going to have the same problem as me. But the satin material attracts a lot of dust, you know, a lot of like I don't know, feathers or whatever, dust and wool and things like that. So it attracts a lot of that, and you're never going to have like a perfectly clean bag. So I always see a bit of dust or like a little bit of like little white things on it all the time. So that is something I don't really like. The final thing I want to talk about before we finish this video is the wear and tear. So I haven't worn this bag that much at all. I probably have worn it for like 2-3 weeks. I think in terms of wear and tear, there really isn't much. The only thing I kind of notice is that with the satin material, it's kind of like, and wherever the lines are or like the stitching is, so the satin material and the stitching, it's kind of having like that little piling, so like a little bit of strings on it. So a little bit of piling on the bag and kind of along the corners a little bit. And on the corner of my bag, actually, I'm just taking a look right now, I noticed that one of the corners, the satin material has actually come off. So it's kind of like rubbed off. You guys probably can't see it, but it's supposed to be black on the corner, but I have this like little gray dot, like not a dot, but like a little gray line on the corner, and it's just the satin material has literally just rubbed off, and it is kind of like the bare bag underneath. So that's kind of the one thing that I have noticed. But other than that, and also obviously this kind of thing pushing back, so you're kind of getting like a deflated bag, whereas this part is pushing out more and this part is pushing back in more, so it's like flattening. But those are kind of the only things that I have noticed with wear and tear while I'm using this bag. But other than that, the bag is still like in a super pristine condition, I would say. So that is it for today's review. Hopefully you guys have liked this review. Please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you like my videos. So thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I will see you guys next time.